Hello, good evening, and welcome to the LFC Daytrippers. I'm Gav, and with me I have Jonathan, and this is today at the World Cup. England 6, Iran 2, Holland 2, Senegal 0, USA 1, Wales 1 in a brilliant day's football, in fairness. Loads going on. Injury time nearly as long as the half itself, which was mental in loads of games. And we're going to take about 30 to 40 minutes to go through this and see where we end up. Jonathan, how are you?
I'm good, and you, Gav?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Um, uh, Eventful day, to say the least.
Yeah, it was entertaining day's football. Plenty of goals in the first game. The Holland Senegal game was poor enough at times, but I enjoyed the Wales and America game. I thought America were really impressive in the first half, but it kind of ran out of gears in the second half, I think. But I suppose Southgate and England will be very happy after the first game today, because I suppose the first game's not to lose. And England have had their
Yeah.
struggles in opening games before. Remember the last World Cup? I think it was last minute winner against India to win the opening
Yeah.
game. So they'll be very happy after today, and I suppose the buzz will start to grow in England as we speak.
Jono just says Jude Bellingham. That's it. That's all he has to say on it. We get on to Jude Bellingham in a bit. I did see people today going, "Oh, that's another 20 million on his transfer fee." But listen, if Jude Bellingham is leaving Borussia Dortmund, I'd say the deal is way down the line. Probably fees agreed and stuff like that. But he was excellent today, I have to say. Let's start with the last game of the day, though. USA against Wales. Of course, they're in the same group as England and Iran, and I think this is a really good group because USA, they flatter to deceive a lot, highly rated in the qualifying, and kind of struggles. But I just think there's something about Wales where they just don't give up. They know each other inside out. They never stop trying, and they've been they're just so, I suppose, well organised, and they weren't good in the first half today. They weren't good. They're 1-0 down, and it looked like a halftime they looked a little bit lost. But the second half, they come out and they're a completely changed side. They're just there's so much going on from them. They're pressing better, passing better, getting the ball to bail, making opportunities, and they end up getting that penalty to make it 1-1. I just thought it was a cracking game of football, and I thought, you know what, if it's a sign of things to come, I think England will have two tough enough games, I think, against USA and Wales, looking on that tonight.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the USA in the first half. Like, they were young. I think they're the youngest squad in the whole tournament, and they were looked like quick, energetic, and they paced all over the field. No, I don't know. The second half, did they tire or Wales improve? It was probably a bit of both. I think the key for more substitution improved Wales significantly. He was a bit of an outball for him. He kind of held it up. And I think Bale and Ramsey kind of grew into the game. They were very poor in the first half. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be plain sailing for England after this. I think USA will cause them problems on Friday night, and the Wales game brings its own derby feel to it. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed that game, kind of a game of two halves, where Wales are the better team in the second half and USA far superior in the first half.
Yeah, and something, Jonas is there, by the way, to watch along with Chris and Kev was quality. Yeah, it was. I was dipping in and out of it while I was walking away, and it's something we're trying just for the World Cup. We probably won't bring it back for Premier League stuff, but if you're interested in watching alternative commentary and you want to stick them on in your ear while you're watching the match and you don't have to listen to some of the commentators, go and check it out. I think we've a watch along every night this week, so if that's what you're into, 7 p.m. every night, whatever game is on, we will try cover it. Owen Burke says that USA struggled with Wales going direct in the second half. It was like Wales just decided. For me, in the first half, what happened with Wales was they were trying to probably get them. You said it, like, the important thing is not to lose, and Wales probably came out with that attitude of, let's see what USA are about. Let's get ourselves bedded in. Get ourselves used to our surroundings and go from there. And it wasn't working for them because they couldn't. They weren't stringing passes together. They weren't making opportunities. USA take their opportunity, and like you said, the second half, it was just like Wales. It was like Wales just went, "Can we not just play like we always play?" they nearly forgot they were in a World Cup. They just went for it. By the way, they had a huge following at that game.
Yeah, they're great support. They actually reminded me a little bit of Ireland's open game against Cameroon in 2002.
Yes, good show.
Yeah, a little bit ropey in the first 20 minutes to half an hour, and Cameroon went 1-0 up, and the game could have got away from us. But that kind of, as we felt our way into the game and got more comfortable in our surroundings, Ireland then started to dominate. And I think Wales was similar again today. They looked a little bit like rabbits in the headlights in the first half, but as they kind of settled into the game, I think, as I said earlier, the key for more substitution was a big substitution for them. Like, I just don't rate Daniel James at all. Like, he's got no football intelligence. He's got world of pace. Ideally, he's a 15, 20-minute man for them when other teams are tiring.
Yeah, he was probably perfect.
More was that outball.
But Dan James was probably perfect in the last 20 of that game when it got stretched, and
America was tired.
You know, and even if you left Kiefer Moore on the pitch and brought Dan James and Bale either side of him. Now I think Johnson does well as well, in fairness to him, but he's the young Forest fella, isn't he? But
yeah,
he is the sort of player where you go put him on for 20 and he'll get onto the long balls, and he'll cause trouble. And not only that, with the world of pace, like you said, he probably makes America keep one or two more defenders back because they don't want to get caught with electric pace, and it makes them. He might not do a hell of a lot in the game, but it probably is your defensive worries in the fact that you don't have two more Americans coming at you, during the game. Just on this group overall, though, and we'll get on to the game that went off first today, but you'd expect Wales and America to beat Iran, because we'll talk about Iran in a bit. So it's probably going to come down to who performs better against England.
Yeah, and England could be. It depends on England could be true before the last game, so it depends what they do there. I don't think Iran will be as bad again, though. Like in qualifying, they kind of kept a lot of clean sheets. I was kind of looking at it today, thinking the old 3-5 Paddy Power bet builder was doing the rounds. I think Harry Kane blew that for everyone, but I was thinking under 3.5 goals because Iran had been. I was looking at their qualifying; they conceded very few goals. So I don't know if they'll be that bad again in the second game. The keeper got an awful bang early in the game. Now I don't know if that contributes to the defending, but I wouldn't write it off Iran just yet. I'm looking at the last 10 minutes there tonight. Wales and USA look tired. So
yeah, and
it's only a 4-day turnaround.
Yeah, it's a 4-day turnaround, but in fairness, in that game today, USA and Wales, it was a real end-to-end job. There was no kind of, we'll hold possession for a bit and we'll kind of, hold our energy. Like, especially in the last 25, 30 minutes, it was just like every time a team got the ball, whoever got the ball, he just went right, bang, everyone forward. And then the other team would get it back and they run up. There was no kind of, I'd love to see the possession stats because I don't know, like, obviously they've had a percentage of possession, but there wasn't an awful lot of possession, if you know what I mean. There wasn't an awful lot of hold the ball play, look for
Premier League.
Yeah, it was a real kind of game where, when you see these games where nothing kind of matters, and it's kind of everyone just goes out and plays and sees what happens, and although a lot matters because it's the World Cup, but yeah, they've a 4-day turnaround, but I'm sure 4 days is more than enough. Like all these players, in both squads would be used to those sort of turnarounds at this time of year, especially. So it's not. If they weren't playing this World Cup, they'd be doing it in the league anyway. They'd be playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, or whatever it might be. So I think they'll be all right there. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who comes out of this group now?
Well, England are obviously going to top the group, barring an absolute disaster. I don't know, World Cup draw. I pick Wales. I'll stick with Wales. I think Wales.
I pick Wales. I picked Wales, but the issue I have here now is, do England play America? No, do you know what? I'm going to stick with Wales, and I'll tell you why.
England play America Friday. Wales are
right. England play Wales last, and I think England will have 2 wins under the belt, and they'll literally just put out what they have to put out and probably get a draw, and Wales, the point will probably do Wales, but. Jono says Acosta with the greatest cynical foul I've seen in a long time. That was right at the end. For anyone that didn't see
Right
it,
at the end.
yeah, the
It
ball
was
gets
set
played
up for
long.
Bale to score.
Yeah, the keeper comes out. The American keeper comes out with heads it. It drops in the middle of the park and eventually finds its way to Bale, who's literally about to get it out of his feet on his left foot from literally the halfway line. And the
Yeah,
keeper's in no man's land, and this guy just comes in the back of him and plows into him.
yeah.
It's actually his teammate at LA, apparently.
Okay.
It was being
It
said
was
in
set up to
commentary.
one of the great World Cup moments.
But yeah, he absolutely just went through Gareth Bale for a shortcut, and yeah, he did. He took him out. Tom Boland says the capacity is down for 40,000 in that stadium, but there was 43,418 at the game, even with all the empty seats. There you go. Man City must be doing
Yeah.
the seat
I
numbers.
see that
Um,
all three games. Yeah.
yeah, and you know what? I don't think the attendance was great at the Holland game either.
No.
It didn't look great. Moving on to Holland though, they beat Senegal 2-0 tonight. Goals from Cody Gakpo and Davy Klaassen.
Daily class.
Um, I wasn't impressed with them.
No.
Now,
Nor was I.
I know it's the opening game, and you don't like to peak too early because people are saying, "Oh, England have peaked," and England haven't peaked. England played in third gear today and won handy, and Iran were part of that, and we'll get onto it in a bit. But they look very casual for me, and they look like they could be gotta. Like the guy off Watford down the left wing, Ismaili Sarr, was just tearing your man Port de Lit apart. You know, they could be gotta. They were giving us space wide where getting balls in the box. They looked yeah, I thought they looked very casual, Jonathan. And on top of that, they probably looked better when they were playing on the break rather than playing possession football.
Some strange selections. I don't rate De Ligt at all. I think he's Dutch Harry Maguire, to be honest. He's big and cumbersome. I couldn't understand Daley Blind left wing back.
Yeah.
He wasn't quick 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then Vincent Janssen, I couldn't believe what he was playing.
Yeah.
There's some class from the past.
Yeah.
I actually had to Google him before we came on. He's playing with Antwerp now. He had been in Mexico, I think, with Monterrey. Like he was starting to play on the bench. I just didn't think.
Unless the boy had some sort of knock and, you know.
Possibly, yeah. And they're easing them into the tournament, possibly. But that Dutch team won't go too far looking at them today. I think they'll probably get to the quarterfinal. I think that's where they meet Brazil. But I think that's as far as they'll go. I wasn't impressed with them at all. I actually thought Van Dijk was a little bit ropey as well, unfortunately. I don't think he's been saving himself for the World Cup. I just think that's his form.
Yeah, do you know what? I think you hit the nail on the head because I was really intrigued to watch this game as to what way Holland will come out and play, and he goes with Ake, doesn't he? He goes with Van Dijk. He goes with De Ligt in his three. He has Dumfries at right wing back, and I thought he would have played someone like Timber, instead of De Ligt. And then you're right with the left wing back thing. I thought Frankie de Jong was very good in midfield.
Frankie de Jong he's top class.
I thought he was really good, and you know what? I think it was Danjuma started up front, and he showed real good pace and power and strength holding up the ball at times. But Van Dijk, I think you're right. It just looked like Van Dijk we've seen this season. It wasn't like he turned up and he's extra sharp. There was a lot of standing off and, you know, turning and kind of not committing. And you're probably right, that's just the form he's in. But on Holland overall, and I get to Senegal in a minute, but Holland overall, did he look like they were very short of ideas? I don't think the attackers helped them.
Yeah. Like, they were getting Dumfries gave him a little bit of width down the right hand side, but Daley Blind wasn't able to give him any width. Like he wasn't able to get outside. Like I like your man. I see what I've seen of Coco. I like him, but I think he's more of a wide player than he was kind of playing in a 10, was he? Kind of behind Janssen and who else was up front? It was Janssen and
Danjuma.
Like I just don't think that three at the back formation is suiting them. I think they're better set up for 4-3-3.
Well, it was four centre backs as well.
Yeah.
In the five.
Danjuma and Gakpo wide of a centre forward, Depay or whatever else, then play. Like you could play Nathan Ake left full if you don't fancy Daley Blind, and you have Van Dijk, and I know Dumfries is more of a wing back, but you probably get away with him right full. If Van Dijk and one other, I don't know, you probably stick with De Ligt. I'd like to see the Dutch go 4-3-3, not play 3-5-2. It just didn't look like they could. It suited the players. It was like round pegs and square holes at times.
Yeah, because when I seen the team line up, I looked and I went. I was actually saying to myself, where's he putting Gakpo here? Because I knew he'd play Janssen up front, and then I was saying, will he go Gakpo and Danjuma either side of him? And then I was saying, well, no, he can't really, because then you're looking at just two in midfield with them three lads up front. Who's linking it? And I don't think I don't think you're right. I don't think it suit Gakpo at all. Now he gets a goal, right? He gets a goal. In fairness to him, he hit him and like I said, Davy Klassen. But just for me, like I think they were screwed if Frankie De Jong isn't in there, because he made so many good. Anything bright came from him. He made some good interceptions, blocks. He was tracking runners. He was really, really good, Frankie De Jong. But just for me,
he looked good in red.
Is this? Yeah, he looked great in red. In fairness, but is this just the Van Gaal effect, where he'll go in and go, listen, I'll just play five at the back, and like I'd even nearly class Daley Blind as a centre half now. He probably does play fucking centre half for Ajax now, rather than fullback or wing back, and yeah, it was just a very strange performance, and I felt a little bit sorry for Senegal, because I think although Holland probably have the three best chances of the first half where they get in behind Senegal. One where Frankie De Jong should score and he keeps coming inside for some reason. But I thought overall Senegal probably looked the more likely. You know, they were threatening, they were getting down the sides, and I thought Ismaili Sarr had a brilliant game.
It's hard to believe he's in the championship, isn't it?
Yeah.
No one's taking the punt on him. This might change after the World Cup. Yeah, I thought, look, Senegal are African champions, so they're obviously a good side, and you would think if Mane was there today, that could have been the difference for them. Like, they're well in this group. Like, you're obviously fancying to pump Qatar. They looked so poor yesterday. And it'll come down to that game against Ecuador. And then probably a 50-50 game. Ecuador a decent side, but Senegal.
Sorry, I keep saying Danjuma. It was Bergwijn. Sorry, I keep saying Danjuma. It was Bergwijn.
Yes.
Sorry, that's my fault.
Yeah, ex-Spurs lads, yeah. But
he looked really good.
No, like Senegal have good players, like good. We're still well in this group. But trying to score goals could be an issue for them. And Mendy had a nightmare on goal. Absolute nightmare.
But you see, the problem with Mendy is that Mendy arrives at Chelsea and everyone is telling you he's the best thing since sliced bread, and he has a decent season at Chelsea, and then he's just looked ropey for me. And Chelsea are in a bit of a bother here, because I think he looks ropey anytime I watch him. And on top of that, you have Kepa, and Kepa is just like absolutely has a mistake in the bag every time he walks out on the pitch. Like, but Holland get the win. Puts them in a strong position in the group, because I'd actually fancy Senegal to win the next two games, to be honest. I'd fancy him against Ecuador and I'd fancy him against Qatar. Who plays next in that group though? Is it Qatar against? I'd have to look it up, because that's the only things I kind of look at. When are they playing each other? What state will the group be in? You know, that sort of way, because Ecuador still have to go and play Holland. Now, if that's the last group game, you know, whoever has Holland, you know, I still think I fancy Senegal.
It's Qatar, Senegal, and Holland, Ecuador next.
Okay, well then, if you look at it, if Senegal get a win and Holland get a win, you're looking at
winner takes all.
Their level, and then it's a winner takes all. I still think I fancy Senegal, just from what I've seen over their first set of games. I think I would fancy them.
It would be a 50-50. Ecuador decent side, and they scored, I think it was 27 goals in qualifying. So Ener Valencia, another fella who this Evergreen, I thought he was gone as well, but apparently he's playing in Turkey, so he knows where the goals are. But you know, like there's no guarantee that Holland beat Ecuador.
Yeah, I think what happened is, I think Holland will be looking to put this to bed now. You know, they'll be looking to go in now and go, right, we have the 3 points, get one more, and we might be carrying a few knocks. And maybe he's done that today with, Daily Blind out there, or maybe he's done it with the Lit, and maybe he wants to bring one or two more in, like the Pie, and they're just carrying little knocks, and he thinks, get the second game out of the way, get the 6 points on the board, and we're through. But again, it's going to be an interesting group because one will stand out, and there's not much to pick between the following two. Qatar won't figure, and they'll be gone at the end of the group stages. Finally, England 6, Iran 2. England, I watched the whole game, and there was never in doubt from minute one who was winning the game. Iran came out, were very, very negative, didn't want to play, couldn't hold on to the ball. You have to give England credit for that. I thought he pressed Iran really well, like especially when Iran tried to get out, they were on top of them. The Iran keeper goes off. Well, he gets injured after about 5 minutes, and he's on the ground for I don't know how long. It's a serious smack he gets, and you can see, is it Kyrgios is the Iran manager, isn't he? You could see him on the side of the pitch with his hands on, yeah, you could see he had his hands on his head when he seen them going off. He must be a massive player for them, because the goalkeeper that come on didn't cover himself in glory, but the best laid plans were out the window. But I have to be honest,
ridiculously long throw as well.
Yeah, and I think he just organises them really well. You could see him from the first few minutes. England were probing, but every time it cut to him, he was kind of marshalling where he'd be, and then that all kind of disappeared as soon as he went off. But England were very good value for that win. Yeah, they give away 2 goals. One of them's a penalty, and it's probably a penalty. But having said that, England should have a penalty within the first 2 minutes as well. When Maguire and John Stones are just manhandled to the ground for no reason in the box. And you know what? England were good. They were very good. I tweeted earlier, I couldn't believe that Phil Foden wasn't in the side, and someone told me he had a knock. But like, people were coming back at me going, "Oh well, Saka scored 2," and I was kind of going, "Yeah, I'm not having a go at Saka. I'd like to see Phil Foden in this side. I think he had something like." Now, Mount, don't get me wrong, Mount was very good. Sterling was okay and got a goal. I just think, I actually think Phil Foden might become a bit more important as they get deeper into the competition and they get into tighter games. I think he works so good in tight games. But overall, England were good. Maguire had a good game before he went off. He was winning headers. He was keeping it simple. Pickford had fuck all to do. The one that surprised me big time, though, Jonathan, was I thought Luke Shaw was excellent for them. I thought he was excellent for them because he seemed to be the one. Yeah, but he seemed to be the one that was their outlet, and he was getting forward. He was making good runs on the ball and off the ball. And Trippier was a bit more reserved. I thought Luke Shaw was excellent for them today.
Yeah, Luke Shaw seems to play better for England. He was very good in the Euros. He's one of these players. Sometimes players play better in international football than they do in club games. That's why I never. I can understand Southgate picking Maguire to a certain degree and Trippier to a certain degree, because sometimes club form doesn't matter when you're on the international stage. Some players just play better for their country than they do for their club. But yeah, Shaw's a good outlet down the outside. He got up and down. Great delivery for Bellingham's goal. It's actually only thinking to steer. There's a big cloud around Iran at the minute. Some of the players have spoken out about the issues that are going on there politically in the country. So they actually could fall apart. I don't know, is it a happy camp? So earlier I said I wouldn't write Iran off, but there's a big cloud over that team. There's a lot going on, so maybe they could fall apart. I don't know. But look, England will be delighted. 6 goals, and I know they conceded. Southgate's work on as well, like to keep fellas drilled. It'll be interesting to see in the knockout stages, does he stick with 4 at the back, or does he go to 3 when they play the better teams?
I think it makes loads of sense playing 4, because when he plays three centre halves, right, he gets so afraid of his fullbacks getting forward that he ends up with them too deep, and he get penned in, and it leaves an awful lot of work for whether it's Rice or Bellingham or whoever might be in the middle of the park. And then I think Sterling can fall out of the game. Saka was excellent today, but with the 4, they know that them 2 can go forward, and they've 2 in midfield that'll cover. And not only that, they've a more chance of penning teams in. I think, like today, they had 4 and they 2, and then it was like a 4-2-3-1. But Sterling was getting very close to Kane, so Mount was kind of drifting over to that left hand side. So it was nearly like a 4-2-4. Now, that's maybe down to the opposition that you have, that you can say, look, Sterling, you go and roam wherever you like. Against better teams, he might have to stick that left hand side, and a better quality fullback against him might be going forward, like if he's playing against a Spain or a Brazil or an Argentina. But England were very good. I just think it's a bit hard to judge how good England were, in the grand scheme of things.
Exactly.
They done their job, they scored their goals, but will it be hard against America? Yes. Will it be hard against Wales? Yes. And if England want to progress, in this tournament, which they get out of the group, but if they want to progress, you're going to see them. Will Sterling roam off that side against the other two? Kane was very reserved for me today. He was looking a lot to get it come deep and torn, but maybe that was because of Saka Sterling's pace. He was probably looking to get them in, but a really good performance from some great goals. The Bellingham header is brilliant. Sterling's finish was brilliant. They're all really good finishes. Saka's 2 finishes are really good. Like they when they got the chance, they took them, in fairness to them.
Yeah, look, England's issues are always come later on when they play teams with better midfields than where England can't retain the ball. So their issues are not going to be really exposed in this group, I don't think so. If you looked at Wales and America tonight, there wasn't much control in midfield in either of them. England's issues always come when they still have that deep line midfielder and control a game, who knows when to go short, knows when to go long. Like the close last 10, 15 years, Michael Carrick, and they never really picked him. So I England will top the group, and they'll probably beat whoever comes second in the Holland, Senegal, Ecuador group. But it'll come to the quarter-final stage when they first get tested. Will the midfield of Mount, Rice and Bellingham be good enough? I still don't know if they have that ball-playing midfielder who can just take the sting out of the game, know when to go short, when to go long. They've never had one. That's where they're failing.
I think when you look at that midfield today from England, Rice does what Rice does. He gets around the pitch. He's physical. He's a good footballer. I'm still a bit on the fence when people. I like him, but I just think I'm a bit on the fence when people start telling you he's world class and he's going to go. I'm not too sure. Bellingham was everywhere today, and that's not me as a Liverpool fan hoping he signs for Liverpool. He was everywhere, and the thing was, in the first 15. I was watching it on, I think it was Fox Sports. I think I was watching it on. The commentary was good, but I think Landon Donovan was on it was Landon Donovan, and he actually called it brilliantly, because Rice and Bellingham are beside each other, on the pitch, passing square and stuff like that. And Landon Donovan just turns around and says they probably need to get Jude Bellingham 15 yards ahead of Rice and leave Rice in there on his own. He's well capable of dealing with what's coming from Iran. And literally a couple of minutes later, Bellingham gets into these positions, and there he is in the box. And Landon Donovan was going on about it a lot, saying, listen, you're not going to get an awful lot of space in the middle here. They need to get men in the box when it gets wide. And there, he kills 2 birds with 1 stone, because Bellingham does break away from that kind of, straight line he was forming with Rice, gets in the box, and the ball from wide is good from Sean. He scores that header, but defensively he was good, and under pressure he was good. But I kind of know where you're coming from. I look at Jude Bellingham as someone that can track back and get forward. But I know what you're saying. Someone like a sitting midfielder that is just going to pop balls off, and in a kind of Pirlo sort of way. But
exactly.
Having said that, the threat England have with Saka, with Sterling, Mount, Foden if he was in there, Kane, it does make teams sit back. It does make teams worry, because in fairness, England, and again it's probably the opposition, but England left Saka, Sterling, Kane and Mount very, very high up the pitch at nearly all times, especially in the first half.
Yeah, you think England are probably, in attacking terms, are probably the top 3 or 4 teams in the tournament. Especially now with France after losing Benzema and Nkunku. They look at England Brazil, France still have quality in the final third. Maybe Portugal as well. Like England have got serious attacking threat. So and options off the bench as well. Like they brought on Grealish, who hasn't been having a great season. They brought on Foden. Like so, they have options.
Rashford
Callum
comes on
Wilson,
and scores.
Rashford, yeah, pace off the
Good
bench.
goal as
So
well.
great, fantastic touch to cut inside.
Yeah.
Like England have a chance. There's no doubt about it. Like as you said, they could get to a quarter final. Probably France or Denmark. More than likely France. And England have players that can hurt. The issue for England again is, as I said already, the midfield and the serious question marks over centre back. Do you trust Maguire and John Stones when it comes to playing the elite? Like if you're playing Mbappe, Olivier Giroud, and I don't know, maybe Dembele, I don't know, or Griezmann or something, do you trust them? Or if they have to play against Vinicius, Neymar, and I don't know, on the right side, Anthony, do you trust that back four against the elite teams?
The only thing I'd say for England is, right, I think the biggest thing in this tournament for England is how brave they are. Because I get where you're coming from, right? If England go out there and Southgate reverts back to what he usually does, where, like you said earlier, does he do 4, does he do 5? And he goes 5. And immediately it ends up being 5-4-1. And that one ends up being Harry Kane. Harry Kane looks like he's lost up there on his own. He's a bit isolated. The likes of Saka and Sterling, who are in that 4, are literally just covering Shaw and Trippier, right, to help them out. And the 2 lads in midfield invariably end up being played around with 3 from France or whatever it might be. But I think if England are brave, and again, I'm looking at it today, and I know the opposition, but for me, if England went out there and says, right, listen, Trippier or Shaw, one of them do not bomb forward at all times, because I think it's Shaw's job to do that today, right?
Yeah.
Whatever centre halves you go with, if he fancies Maguire and Stones, if he goes with that, fine, and he keeps a full back, and he says, right, and now the 2 in front are maybe a bit of license for Bellingham, but Rice sticks. But the important thing is the 3 ahead of them are given license to stay up the pitch. And I'm not talking about when England are defending that they're fucking standing up front. I'm talking about they're not just standing in front of their fullbacks all day. They're pressing the opposition fullback, or they're making things, where even when England win a ball back, they're not getting it 30 yards from their own goal. They're getting around the halfway line. It makes a huge difference. I think bravery here from England is probably going to be their biggest issue, because they have got really good attacking talent. They have got people off the bench in a lot of positions. But I just think that what may hold them back is if the bravery gets torn down a couple of notches and they end up sitting in. And if they sit in, I know they could be really good on the break as well, but if they sit in, other teams will hurt them. Other teams will hurt them. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, do you give them a chance of winning it?
Quarter final at least.
Yeah,
at least. But I'd worry over their goalkeeper. I'd worry over their centre half partnership, and I'd worry over their manager falling back into going out into games not to be beaten. Mm-hmm. And he ends up going too far the other way, where they're not really showing much, but they're under the cosh. I think they will get to a quarter final, but I think if they come up against a Brazil, an Argentina, possibly even a Croatia, and I don't even know if you can get them fucking teams. Like, I haven't even looked at the chart.
It looks like more than likely be France or Denmark in a quarter final, depending on who tops that group.
Mm-hmm.
Like France could go either with them. They could explode.
Like Kev O'Sullivan says there, they beat Denmark, but they'd struggle versus France. But Denmark play a very kind of British game as well, and England might find it hard. Look, listen, we could be sitting here in 2.5 weeks' time and we're in a semi-final, you know what I mean, or whatever. Like, but I think if England are to progress beyond the quarter final, it's going to take some bravery. It's going to take some bravery from the manager, and it's going to take big performances from a goalkeeper and centre back. I think the rest can look after themselves. If he doesn't want to play Bellingham because he's probably too attack minded, although I think he was very good defensively again today, he can go in with a Calvin Phillips. He can even put a Jordan Henderson in there, whoever he wants to put in there, and go that bit more solid. But if he's going to go more solid in midfield, he has to keep those players up front to threaten. Because genuinely, if it's a bit like when you watch Liverpool and you go, Liverpool are letting Mane stay up a little bit, they're letting Salah stay up a little bit, and teams, instead of bombing at you, kind of tentatively leave fullbacks back and they give you a chance to defend, and then it's up to you playing against them and their forward. So I think it's going. If they're brave, I think they can go a long way in it, because I think they have.
Look, we'll probably learn more about them Friday night against America. Today they weren't tested. I think they'll be tested more against the United States on Friday night.
And America probably know they're coming out. America probably know they're coming out on Friday, knowing they need to get something. Because if America lose, they'll be looking at possibly Wales having 4 points. They're having 1. Wales are going into the last game against England, who are already qualified, and England probably just hand Wales a draw and they all move on. Sort of way. So it's going to be interesting. You looking forward to tomorrow's games?
Yeah, Argentina are on first, so I'm looking forward to seeing Messi. I have him back to be top goal scorer. So
are we up to 4 games a day? Yeah,
4 games a day tomorrow. Yeah,
from tomorrow is
the
it?
first one.
Yeah,
Argentina, Saudi Arabia first.
Yeah,
then Denmark, Tunisia, then Mexico, Poland, then France, Australia.
We'll have a watch along for France, Australia tomorrow. I think Kevin and Chris are on that again. And tomorrow we will have today at the World Cup as well. I probably have it written down here as to who's on. I do. Look, Jesus, I'm well organised, haven't I? Tomorrow, Kevin, Chris for France, Australia, and Chris is going to stay on with Matt at 10 p.m. to go through the day's games. Emma Cavanagh confirms there.
Remember back in the day when there was no floodlights in Lansdowne, you used to be able to bring a letter into school to get the half day.
It's the only thing is now we're too old to be in school, so it's trying to get out doing work and doing stuff at home.
A letter into work.
I was dusting around the house there, and I had the football on. My wife said, "Is that the World Cup?" I said, "Yeah." How long's that on for? It was like 4 weeks, and she's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, we're gonna have to put up for this for 4 weeks." Like literally, every time she looked, I was just standing, kind of going, "Oh, what's going on in that game?" So, but look, four games tomorrow, and they're all decent games. Like even the ones that you don't think are going to be decent end up.
Mexico and Poland is a big game.
Yeah, I think they all look decent tomorrow. But look, it was a good day of football. England trashed Iran. Holland got away with a win, and they'll be delighted with that, having not played well. America and Wales overall, a draw was probably fair. Yeah, America probably felt the edge they're over, but Wales in the second half, with the second half performance, probably deserved that point. Anything else? Anything else before we go?
Qataris have spent 200 billion. I'd say that they're probably not even happy to have the World Cup now. It's shone light on their regime, I'd say.
Yeah. Actually, what did you make? What did you make of this thing with the armbands?
I see Roy Keane said they should just take the booking. I don't know. It's if you're a footballer, you probably dream of getting to the World Cup. You don't dream of being suspended after 2 games, like one of the bookings. I don't know. I think what it looks like to me is that the week before the World Cup, Qatar just said, "Look, I know we promised X, Y, and Z, but what? You're not going to pull the tournament on us now."
Yeah.
So
no alcohol, this, that, and the other. Yeah. And the thing is, like, these armbands have been worn in FIFA sanctioned games before, right? I'm sure of it. They have to be. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, these armbands. So it's clearly something that's come out of Qatar. It's not FIFA. Like FIFA could have told them this rule 3 months ago. Players aren't allowed to hold anything political or stuff like that. And I don't even think that armband comes under personal beliefs anyway. It might fall under personal beliefs, but it doesn't fall under advertising or political or whatever they fucking have in their rule book. But C. Cotter says gay rights are political, by the way. I don't agree that gay rights are political.
I think they're just a basic human right.
I think, I don't even. Do you know what? Yeah, it's probably a human right, but it shouldn't even be called it right. You know, it's
Shouldn't even
a
be a
human.
topic of
And what I
conversation.
mean by that is that, listen, we're in a world where, this is the way I feel about it. If you want to be gay, straight, whatever you want to be, right, just do it. You're not harming anybody. Just do it. It's no problem, right? But what I'm saying is, like, you can't call that a political statement, right? You probably call it a personal statement. It's definitely not an advertisement. But FIFA could have come out with that ages ago and said, listen, we know you're going to wear these things, but you're not allowed. Now, if they've been warning games, qualifying games for the World Cup, they've been in officially sanctioned games under the umbrella of FIFA through the guise of UEFA when you're in those qualifying games. I think he should have worn the armbands today. Because,
Yeah, I think it's unfair on 32 players to have to just automatically take a booking. Because it's only going to be the captain wearing the armband. It wouldn't be all 11 players wearing it. A lot of pressure on one individual to wear an armband.
Well, then all of them wear it.
That's what should happen.
But you see, the thing is, right?
One team should agree to it.
Right.
Every team in the tournament should agree to it.
But the thing is, right? They've worn these before, no doubt. They say they're going to wear them, and FIFA don't pull this rule out of their arse 3 months ago. They pull it out of their arse today, right? Because I think you're spot on. I think Qatar have turned around in the last 3 or 4 days and said, "Oh yeah, we know we've promised you could drink. Well, you're not. We know you. We didn't say about those armbands. No, it doesn't happen. We're against homosexuality in this country, and you will not be promoting it. Blah blah. And that's it. You're not going to pull the tournament. That's absolutely fine. And there's probably an element of that where, you know, how this tournament has ended up here, and the agreements that have been made in the background, shall I say. People don't want to rock any boats there because they could end up being exposed for certain things, right? But I don't understand why those, like, as a football association like of England or Holland, why they didn't go to FIFA and go, hold on, there's this rule, you didn't pull this rule 3 months ago, so why are you pulling it now? You know what I mean? So now, is this a regime we're walking in within this football tournament now? Is that what we're saying? And FIFA pride themselves on, and I use that lightly, and that saying pride themselves, but the world game, you know, the inclusive game, and you know, and as soon as this World Cup's over, you know, you can be guaranteed. Is it America and Canada are hosting it next time? Or maybe America on its own, maybe. But
America and Canada,
you can be guaranteed, right? There'll be the rainbow flags everywhere, and FIFA will have an absolute ball, and they'll play on that, and they'll be selling flags with the FIFA logo and everything on it, right? But what happens if America turn around and say, well, Ronaldo can't come into our country and play that World Cup? Now, I know he'd be too old, right? But Ronaldo can't come into that tournament. You can be guaranteed FIFA will go, hold on a minute. This is a fucking football tournament. We're trying to sell this tournament. You know, it's just, I just think it's pathetic. And I mean that from, and listen, Qatar have their way, right? They have their way, they have their beliefs, they have all that. But at the end of the day, they're getting a tournament. Everyone knows what comes with that tournament. You're gonna get people of all race, color, creed turning up, all beliefs. It's the world game. The world descends on your country, right? It'd be like, you know, it'd be like, I don't know, giving it to another country that don't like black people, right? And then, yeah, we have the World Cup, but you don't like black people. Oh well, yeah, but we'd be fine. And then saying 2 days before, well, no, Holland, they're not allowed in. Like, it's just, it's fucking mad. Like, you know what I mean? German FA called foul on timing. They said FIFA were informed on the double change of rules happened in the last 40 hours, as Chris called it. It's just, I just think it's ridiculous. And
I actually think that if Qatar had their time back, they wouldn't host the World Cup. It hasn't played out for them like the way they thought it was going to be.
But how can it play out? Like, what way did they want it to play out?
I thought I'd say they thought they were going to some type of a form of sports washing. This is our great country. Look at our great stadiums. Look at the event we can put on. Blah blah blah. But all it's done is it's put the the whole world is watching them, and it's they're shining a light on them. And it's all
but
criticisms that they're getting, and they've wasted 200 billion. There'll be no legacy from this World Cup.
no, there'll be no legacy whatsoever. It actually, do you know what? It'll actually do damage to a World Cup being hosted in that part of the world for a long time, I think.
Yeah,
because it's just like if you look at all the issues that have come up, they're only gonna if you go to that part of the world again, they're only gonna come up again. Plus, football associations are gonna go, hold on, if we're going, and listen, I've no problem with the World Cup being wherever they want to fucking play it, but the whole world descends on you. The reason, or what should be the reason for you hosting a World Cup is that you are able to welcome whoever wants to show up. Right? Once within reason, like if people are showing up and being arseholes, fair enough. You know what I mean? You deal with them. But the whole idea is that you are able to host anything that comes at you from all corners of the world, and you're meant to be the best host. The word is host. You know what I mean? If you're hosting a party in your house on New Year's Eve, and you start fucking discriminating against people as they come to the door, you're not a great host, are you? You know what I mean? It's. But I think. For me, I think the players should have just worn their armbands and called it out.
Yeah, we could be looking at Saudi Arabia 2038.
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I think could happen? I think you might see a team that haven't got a chance to qualify from the third game, and a player will wear the band.
Yeah,
you just go out, or the whole team will do it. Someone will do it. I think it'd be brilliant.
Denmark have been fairly vociferous around the whole World Cup, so it'd be interesting to see what Denmark do.
Well,
they've been the most
what I'm saying is like people saying like, well, do it now, but you don't know where they'll end up. Like they could get thrown out of the World Cup. You don't know how mad this is going to get. You know what I mean? But you might find someone at the end going, listen, we're not going through here. Everyone's wearing the armbands, and if you go on the pitch and he books them all, tells them to take it off, and you refuse to, and he has to send them all off. Players just walk out and go, right, grand. Yeah, fuck it. We're out anyway. Fuck yes. And we make a stand in this way. Now, maybe that's not good enough for some people because people want it done right at the start, and I kind of see both sides of the arguments, but to pull that rule this morning was pathetic from FIFA. But this is what you're dealing with now, isn't it? It's just, you know, it's they represent fuck all, like, let's be honest.
After Infantino's speech the other day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right. Anything is possible with FIFA.
Yeah. And do you know what? Do you know what? All their shows in the World Cup will have One Love on the screen. And it's not a publicity stunt. It's nothing like that. We just decided today that, well, we can put it on the screen. What are you going to do? Turn off our YouTube channel? Go ahead. You know, but no, One Love will be on the screen. Let me see. Anything has to do. Let me see. I'm just reading through the comments before I go. Yeah, a lot of people call it virtual signaling and stuff like that. But look, it's one of those. It's one of those things where you might see something come up in the next possible. You never know. Someone could, like, all the group games haven't been played. Denmark fella could come out and go, I'm wearing it. Yeah, I'll take the booking. No problem. Do you know what I mean? They might absolutely do that. They could end up fucking putting their third keeper in goal, making him captain, getting him booked, take him off the pitch, and put their keeper in goal.
5 subs.
Yeah, they could do something like that.
Yeah.
But look, it was a good day's football. There was some good goals. There was some good games. There's loads of injury time. There's been fucking mad amounts of injury time. The games have gone on for fucking all night. But overall, I think it was a good day's football. And hopefully, you know what, one or two people over there are still, you know, supporting that One Love campaign and stuff like that. And not only that, they're just being themselves, and that's what you should be in a World Cup. And I don't think it's the end of it. I think you were probably right. I think they're probably looking at it now going, there's no legacy off this. We're not coming out of this in a good light. And look, that's where the country is, and that's what you have to. That's what you should expect when you turn up there. As I said, watch along to the rest of the week. France, Australia tomorrow, Belgium, Canada Wednesday, Brazil, Serbia Thursday, England, USA Friday. Kev and Chris doing most of them. I have a few more. I've one or two that I have to confirm. And like tomorrow, you have got Chris and Matt doing your Today of the World Cup will be tomorrow. Chris and Matt, Keith and Chris on Wednesday, me and yourself again on Thursday after Brazil play. Friday, we have to confirm who's on there. But look, we're trying to bring you as many shows as you can. Hit the like button, subscribe if you can. You know all the stuff. The link for Lydia is in the description. Go and check that out. Next week, we'll be giving away all our free LFC DT beanie hats. We'll be giving them away live on shows and in the comments afterwards and stuff like that. We spread out as much as we can amongst people that listen in different ways. Jonathan, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll meet again on Thursday.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'll be here Thursday.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks a million for everyone for watching. Yeah, it's been a good show. Been a good day's football. We'll be all back at it tomorrow. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.